Okay, thank you.
All right, ready to go?
We're ready.
Habaragani. Habaragani Nguzu Saba. Habaragani Umoja. Habaragani Kujichagalia. Habaragani Ujima. Ujama. Habaragani Nia. Imani. Umoja. Umoja. Kujichagalia. Kujichagalia. Ujima. Ujima. Ujama. Ujama. Nia. Nia. Kumba. Kumba. Imani. Ashe. Oh, we're the Black Rose Nation, Holistic Sunshine Management. As introduced, I am Joel. This is my Earth Tanya. I also go by Babalu Anu Shabazz Allah, or Dr. Carbon, the medicine man. We're here today to talk about holy days. So when we say holy days, it's very similar to saying holiday. Your holidays are your holy days. So what is a holy day or a holiday? These are times in your cultural experience where there's things worth remembering. When great things were done that helped build you as a people, that gives you information, that can educate you, that it can encourage you, that can give you strength. This is why we celebrate holidays and holy days, to remember Sankofa and going forward for Uhuru. I keep saying these words, and these words are Kiswahili. So what is Kiswahili? Well, in the continent of Africa, Kiswahili is the largest language spoken. If you want to say what's the main language in Africa spoken, it's Kiswahili. Now, that's the largest language. So in the whole world, the fourth largest African population is those of us in the wilderness of North America. The diaspora or the African American, North, South, and Central America, we are the fourth largest group of an African nation. And like with all groups, just celebrate holy days and holidays. So we're here today going to talk about Kwanzaa. But of course, always got to lay down that knowledge foundation of what a holy day is, a holiday is, and why we do it. So for Blacks in the wilderness of North America, we needed holidays like everybody else for all these things that teach, but also to help heal, to make you feel better, to fix things that are broken in what they call in the adult language, our psycho-spiritual self. So we have holidays to help strengthen our psycho-spiritual self, to make us stronger. This is to recreate in us, the best of our ancestors, our parents, great-great-parents, great-great-great-great-great-grandparents, what we call ancestors, to take the best of everything they got, remember it, and try to put it inside us. Now we learn this history so we can remove the mystery and then we can work our magic. This is why the teachers are teaching you your history, the history of math, and sciences, and all of these things, so you can work your magic, your strength, and your power. Now, a great lady, Zora Neale Hurst, told us once, to be there where you want to be, to get where you want to be there, you got to go there. But if you want to go there, you have to know there. Okay, well, I need to know where I want to go so that when I get there, I know where I'm at and what we want to be. Holidays. We celebrate this as the Nguzu Saba. The Nguzu Saba is a way of African traditions in which we relate to God as everything in the world is an example of God having an experience, and us is the example of God having a human experience. And of course, we have ways to celebrate, to clean, to strengthen, to get ready for it, to do these things. And this is the Nguzo Saba, Ashe. So everybody out there who would like to participate in this little exercise, please do. But if not, you can just watch and listen along. We're going to do 3 big breaths. In through your nose and out through your mouth. So follow me and we'll do it. We're going to go first in through your nose like this. And out. That's 1. Now again, in through your nose. And out through your mouth. 1 last time. In through your nose. And out through your mouth. Thank you. Now, this is a great exercise in spirit, because I say it's spiritual and you hear these words come up with holidays. But like in school, when we were taught, if you go to a dictionary and you look up the word spirit, one of the meanings is breath. Your breathing is your spirit and an aspect of. So when we take control of our breath, our spirit controls our physical. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, for anybody out there who might be in Jae Young Chain Taekwondo, maybe Golden Gloves boxing, maybe you're into yoga. Maybe your uncle or your dad goes to the gym and has big muscles and doing pull-ups. So listen, your spirit or your breath, when they do workouts, when they do a pull-up and they flex and it's hard work, you breathe in on the pull-up. And when you let go, you exhale. Breathe in on the pull-up and out on the exhale. Now, these things are all to control your spirit, control your breath, because your breath in these movements helps the water pump along in your body, helps the oxygen pump along in your body. We know we got a heart, and our heart pumps our blood in and around our body and cleans it, but we don't have a pump for our water. So our breathing and our movement pumps the water. And this has everything to do with the magic, because inside your body, in every single cell, there's electricity. And with that electricity, it gives you strength and power. That's why when you go, when you lift up things, to get that little extra energy. So holidays, we want to harness that energy. We want to harness that spirit so we can focus on remembering the past to help strengthen us and make us smarter, to make us better. So leading up to holidays or leading up to holy days, in the African tradition and in many traditions, when the holidays are coming, just like when you're going to your nanny, your Grammy's house, first you gotta prepare your temple. You know, maybe tuck in your shirt, maybe pick out your afro, get a good shower, shave. You gotta prepare your temple to celebrate those great things. So with Kwanzaa and the holidays, we'll prepare our temple by, before the holiday comes, we're going to eat better, we're going to breathe better, we're going to get more hours of sleep, so that when the holidays come, our temple is ready. Now, when our temple is ready, when we did all the eating right and all that living right, there are prayers that we do. And in the Nguzo Saba, in Kwanzaa, and many traditions, The times of the ancestors to pray was with the sun. So there's sunrise, there's the midday, noon, and then there's sunset. Now these are key times in the African traditions, and many if you dive deep into what's going on. So I'm saying all this to help build that foundation of what a holiday to holiday is. So when my Earth Tanya is explaining the details of Kwanzaa, you know what we're building on. So at sunrise, that's when the sun's coming up. We're all waking up. Things are coming alive. The birds are coming out. Some animals are waking up. Morning glory flowers are opening. Things are manifesting. So at sunrise, we say prayers about what we want to rise up in our life, what we want to manifest in our life, what you want to make in your life. Like maybe you're like, I wish we had more fun at home, or games, or I could share happiness more. Or maybe you want to have a big business achievement, or do great on a test. Now it requires studying, but in the morning, this is when we think and pray of the things we want to create, what we want to make. Then we have noon hour. And noon hour, like a teeter-totter, is when the sun's directly above your head and balanced. So at noon hour, we pray about the things we want to balance in our life. Like maybe you play a lot of different sports, but you also want to hang around with your friends, but you also want to hang around with your family. So those are things you could balance in your life. So at noon hour is when we do prayers about balance. And guess what sunset is? Things you want to get rid of. So maybe, I don't know, you have like anger. Sometimes you get mad about things and it prevents you from being successful, or you get angry and it prevents you from getting to do that awesome thing. So it'd be a good time to pray to remove anger out of your life that prevents you from leveling up. So those are the three big ones. Sunrise, what you want to make. Noon hour, what you want to balance. Sunset, what you want to get rid of. So there's also another one, but most of us aren't up at midnight, but you can have one at midnight. At midnight, all you're praying for is to receive that electricity from the great creator, to fill your dreams, so you can get guidance of love. Maybe in your dreams you have fear, so that's coming to you as a warning, something you want to build. So we can do a midnight prayer too. I'm not usually up. I like to get my full sleep. Now, I say all these great things, but it all has a science purpose. Like I said at the beginning, in our body we have cells, little bitty cells. And you know how many cells are in your body? Over 100 trillion. 100 trillion cells in your body. And every one of those cells has a little bit of electricity. So the sun has electrical energy in the light. So when we're praying at sunrise, noon, and sunset, we're connecting to that electricity that connects to our cells' electricity, and then we use that power to manifest the things we want to make, balance the things we want to balance, and remove the things we want to remove. And we have holidays to remind us of this. Because we have holidays because it's like when your parents aren't in the room with you, and sometimes, you're having a good time, but sometimes you forget and you start to make a big mess and then leave the mess and make another mess and then leave that mess and maybe change your clothes and leave them on the floor. Every once in a while, we got to have a holiday that we say, wait a minute, I got to put all that stuff back neatly, clean my temple, and go ahead in life on those things that I want to accomplish for me, my loved ones, and my friends, great family, and our community. So we tap into the electricity of science to feed our brains to do that. So preparing our body, giving thanks to those who came before and taught us. We pray for those things that we want to come, balance and get rid of. And then, of course, you don't end there. You got to plant seeds for the next year to come of what you want.
Harvest.
The harvest. And this is what we do on holidays. And really, everybody does on holidays or holy days. Now, that's a little foundation of holy days. Thank you. And I'm going to pass it over to my queen, my earth, Tanya, to continue.
I am Tanya. I am mother. I am earth. I am queen. Greetings. Good morning. Habaragani. What the news?
What's the news?
What's the news? So we are going to talk about the 7 life principles of Kwanzaa. They are practiced so that you can manifest them, and then they become real. We may switch sides here just to.
All right. Let's do that.
We're just going to switch sides here so I can make sure that I'm up on my nose. Okay, so the 7 life principles of Kwanzaa. The very first principle of Kwanzaa is called umoja, or unity. And this is the foundation for all of the other principles. And all of these 7 principles are called the Nagubu Saba. Naguzu Saba, the 7 life principles of Kwanzaa. So the first one is unity. It's both a principle, which is a belief, and it's a practice, which is an action. So to believe something, you have to believe it, practice it, and then it becomes an action so that it's real. And then the 2 of them are working together so that they are harmonious. This is central to African ethics. So what are ethics? Ethics is a magnetic force that determines behavior. Or simply put, it's a code that governs how we do things. So now we talk about our moral principles. So our beliefs, what are they? Well, we know that they can be tested, they can be proved or disproved in relation to how we deal with other people. So an example of that would be if I say that I actively work in solidarity with people, that means I work together with other people to get my results. That's an action. I can say that I work with other people, but I actually have to do it. I have to make it real. That determines how then I behave with other people.
Yeah, doing it.
Doing it.
Not just saying it.
Not just saying it,
Yeah.
right? So the key here is practice. And in the end, the practice proves everything.
Practice
right?
makes perfect.
Right. It's an action. It's a doing, not just lip service. So as a family, we must reject the things that we don't want, like we said before we prepare, right? So if I want to reject harshness, I want to take that away from my life, then I need to practice gentleness, right? Then I need to make that real. And in order to practice something, it means I put this concept into an action, which is my belief. And my family then actively gets away from things that aren't harmonious, and we work together to make things harmonious for the benefit of the whole family, right? So we don't want to do anything that is in opposition of us being gentle. That's our goal here. And we must be very attentive to these things to avoid anything that takes us off of that goal, which is our purpose, okay? This is especially important. Unity of our family, of our mothers, our fathers. We are the role models, the guides for our children. This is the foundation of what we believe for our family, right? It's a visual. What our kids see becomes real and practiced by watching family. It's lived out. So we want to make sure that we're being gentle, if that's our goal. right? So also important to Ujima, right? Unity is intergenerational unity. Well, what does that mean? It means something that's passed down, intergenerational. And one of the most important expressions of family unity is respect and collective concern for our elders.
Facts.
Our old people, right? We need to look after them and care for them. They have a lot that they've contributed and that they have to offer. They are respected. They are seen as judges and as reconcilers. It is they who hear our cases of conflict and our problems, and they offer up solutions because they are our elders. They've done this before. They prepared the way for us, right? And one of the most important aspects of this African concept for our elders is including them in making all the decisions, because their knowledge and wisdom becomes the action. We then do it.
Ask Granny.
Yes, we practice this way of life. It's a legacy. The second principle of Kwanzaa is self-determination, or Kujichagulia, right? Self-determination. What does self mean? That means I. So I determine, I decide, both in commitment and practice. Well, in commitment and practice means I live it out. So I decide, I practice, and I live out. Meaning to self-determine, that we're determining unity for our family. So therefore we are acting out this unity. To define it, to defend it, and to develop it. For who? Ourselves. So that we can recover our lost history and gain and shape our world in our own images and interests. That's Kwanzaa, our own culture, our own values, and our own traditions.
Learn your history to remove the mystery, to unlock your magic.
Right. So defining identity, what does that mean? Well, the first act of a free people is to shape its world in its own image and interest. So building on the teachings of one of our great scholars, Frantz Fanon, he says that each of us should ask ourselves these three questions. Who am I? Am I really who I am? And am I all that I ought to be? So Kwanzaa answers these questions for us. If I break this down, who am I? Correctly then is to know and to live out one's history and practice one's culture. Kwanzaa. Am I really who I am? We need to use cultural criteria of authenticity based on something real and measured. Cultural groundedness or rootedness. Am I rooted? To be rooted or grounded means that I'm rooted in the thing. I'm rooted in, am I all that I ought to be? Using a code of cultural standards which measure the quality of thought and practice in both the African sense and the human sense.
Maybe that's why they use the tree of life in the roots, representing all these things.
Tree of life, the roots, foundation.
Roots and culture.
So a way of life, a legacy is something that we leave behind.
Mm-hmm.
So, and these disciplines, we can see them in action through human history, right? Our knowledge, astronomy, geometry, literature, math, medicine, ethics, codes, right? We live by codes, advanced architecture, right? It urges us as a people not to surrender our historical and cultural identity to fit into someone else's. We have our own. Kwanzaa. Afrocentricity is an ongoing critical reconstruction, which is restoring lost and missing parts of our historical self. Again, self-formation, right? Information on me. Who am I? Does this represent me, right? So it's the historical self-formation or development as a people. And the answer here is Kwanzaa, it reinforces who we are through actions lived out daily of these 7 principles. Nguzu Saba. So the third principle of Kwanzaa is
Ujima.
right, which is collective work and responsibility. What does that mean? Collective work and responsibility. It means that we work together for unity. And without collective work and struggle, progress is impossible and liberation is unthinkable. Whoa, that was big.
Sounds like teamwork.
It
Whole
sounds-
lot of teamwork.
Right. So in order to get these things that we need to help guide us through our life, we need to have our own sources, our own people guiding us through these things. And again, unity is to accept the fact that we need to do this together. We need to unify, right? We need to accept the fact that we collectively are responsible for our failures and our setbacks, just as we are responsible for our victories, right? And our achievements. We are responsible for all of them. And another tradition is that as long as an African anywhere in the world is oppressed or exploited or hurt in any way, so are all African people. Again, showing that we are a family of togetherness and we need to unify.
That's right. I wouldn't want anybody in one person in my house to be unhappy and everybody else to be happy.
Right. So then we need to work together for active cooperation, right? So what does that mean, active cooperation? It means that I actively move and I agree. So I have to move and agree together in order to have these key aspects that I want, right? It's all based on the assumption that what benefits someone else benefits me. And if it hurts someone else, then it hurts me also. Unity, again, togetherness. We are not in this alone. The fourth principle of Kwanzaa is cooperative economics, or
Ujama.
Ujama. So what does cooperative mean? It means I agree. What is economics? We think of money. So I agree and I have money. So I'm putting my money together and I agree to do that. And I am committed to the practice of shared work and also the work that is necessary. So the work in action that I have to put in to achieve these goals that I say I want, right? I have to actively move towards them. So it literally means familyhood, a sharing of work and wealth in the manner of family. It is a social wealth that belongs to all of the people that created it. So Ujima also stresses economic self-reliance. There's that word again, self, me. So it stresses economic self-reliance in building, strengthening, and controlling our own economics in our own community for our development. We have to depend on ourselves and our resources. We have to respect the work and have appreciation for it. It's important who's telling you the history, where the source of the information comes from. Always remember that. Number 5 of the Kwanzaa principles is Nia, or purpose. What is the purpose here, right? What is the purpose? Is it practical? Is it a living principle that makes sense? So purpose is a commitment to building, developing, defending our community, its culture, and its history in order to regain our greatness as a people. We are heirs and custodians of a great legacy. Heirs and custodians. What does that mean? Well, to be a custodian of a great legacy means I'm guarding it, I'm preserving it, I'm expanding it, and I'm promoting it. It's to honor it. It's to show that it's important because you're building onto it, you're expanding it, and in turn, you're leaving it greater or more enriched for future generations. So it's ongoing. It's an ongoing generational responsibility that we have. We are joining our personal and our social purpose. So true greatness and growth never occur in isolation, right? So they never occur away from everything else and at the expense of others. So it's not to hurt others, right? True greatness and growth never occur in isolation, meaning that we are never alone. We have our family, our friends, our ancestors, those who came before to help guide us and show us the way. Again, Kwanzaa, living out these principles, not only during the week time of Kwanzaa, December 26th to January the 1st, but 365 days a year. That's what these principles are. 7 life principles that I live daily. So number 6 is called Kumba, which is creativity, right? And creativity is required by the principle of purpose, which is Nia, which we just talked about, the 5th principle, right? It means that we leave our community more beneficial, more beautiful than each of our generations inherited it. It is our responsibility. It is our legacy, our obligation to leave it better than we found it.
That's like when you go to the woods and if you see garbage, you pick it up. So you leave the woods cleaner and better than you found it.
Absolutely. Right. So the principle has both a social and a spiritual discipline. Well, what does that mean? It means ma'at. What's ma'at? Well, ma'at is balance. It means that we are reaffirming and restoring truth in the world, justice, prosperity, harmony, reciprocity, and order. We are restoring all these things to create a balance. And we are committed, which is an action, to reaffirming, to reestablishing and renewing what is good, what is right, and what is beautiful in the world for our people and for generations to come. And the last principle of Kwanzaa is faith, or imani, right? So faith is a profound and enduring belief. So if something's profound, it means that it is super, right? It means it must be so important that it's profound. And something that's enduring means it goes on and on. So I have faith that's going to go on and on, this belief, which I practice, which becomes a commitment to all that is valuable to me and my family, my community, my people, and my culture. And in order to do this, I need to have faith in my people, that we are capable of ultimate righteousness and creativity through, here's this word again, self-mastery. It means I must master myself. And all of these things, that is key. We must know who we are, not just in words, but in doings, in expression, right? In action. I have to know who I am, then I practice who I am, and it becomes a living principle. And we have to have faith in this struggle that we're under, and we have to have faith in Kwanzaa that was created for us 54 years ago in 1966 by Dr. Maulana Karanga, one of our great freedom fighters who is still alive and is 80 years old today. And he says that we aspire to think in a dignity-affirming way that is life-enhancing and world-preserving to uplift the conversation with our Creator, the one who is responsible for all that we see in the world. So the world and our people are waiting for something new, more beneficial, and more beautiful from us. This is our culture. This is our freedom. Peace. All right.
Now, along with Kwanzaa, there's all kinds of little symbols. Like we have a unity cup. A unity cup, like in many African traditions, where there's one cup and you share it with everybody, showing you the interconnectedness. We have 7 candles, which represent the 7 principles, which are the Nguzu Saba. We have the harvest of the fruit. We have the mat in which they sit upon. And these things all help us focus, like we said, so we know where we want to go. But self is responsible.
That's right.
So I'm responsible for the good and the bad. We got to take responsibility.
That's right. That's how change occurs. By taking responsibility for all that is good and bad, practicing what we want to see in the world, and then doing it.
So these are through 7 principles. Now, there was a lot today, but we're going to go through the 7 principles again. I'm going to say them so you can learn maybe a little Kiswahili. That's right. So during Kwanzaa, the greeting, like when you say hello to someone, you're really saying, what's the news? So we say, habari gani. And the answer to habari gani is one of the 7 principles. The first principle, umoja. So I'd say, habari gani. And you would say, umoja. So these are the 7 principles. Umoja, umoja. Kujichagalia, kujichagalia. Ujima, ujima. Ujama, ujama. Nia, nia. Kumba, kumba. Imani, imani. Umoja, umoja. Kujichagalia, kujichagalia. Ujima, ujima. Ujama, ujama. Nia, nia. Kumba, kumba. Imani, imani. Maybe you remember some of these words someday, and then like next year when Kwanzaa comes along, you'll know a little bit about the foundation. Is there any questions anybody wants to ask about the Kwanzaa holidays or some of the things we said today? We'd love to take any questions. Abaragani.
What's the news?
Thank you so much. Maybe if we have any questions, we could type them in the chat and then we can share them with everyone. So feel free to put your questions in the chat.
So while
that was so great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Nguzu Saba. Habaragani umoja kujichagalia. Ujima ujama. Nia. Kumba imani yohuru. Ashe. Well, you know, this was great.
Yeah,
I like sharing.
I do too.
Yeah. It's always good to get together through the holiday seasons. Many holidays right now.
Maybe what we can do, if any teachers or classes have questions, they can send them to me in an email and I can pass them on to you and we could get the answers back to them at some point in time.
Sure.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, if we have no questions, we can say goodbye for today and get prepared for 6 to 12 presentation coming up next. We'd like to thank you very much on behalf of all the K-5 classes, and we hope to see you again soon.
All right, you too.
Thank you.